You're listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast, featuring all your latest iRacing news, driver interviews, race reviews, opinions, discussions, rumors, and much more. Now here's your host, Mike Ellis, and Sim Racing Chewy Side.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is the podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Carlos, Jeff Walton, Brad Wren. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Howdy.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. They had the Peak Antifreeze Series race last week at Charlotte. Kenny Humpy took home the win over Justin Bolton and Ray Alfala, third. And that, I didn't get to see this, but I'm just reading the results. Did anybody see the race?
No, I didn't.
Watched a little bit of it. I was kind of surprised that they actually ran in the daytime.
Yeah, considering, it's a night event this week.
But it was a pretty good race from what I saw. Yeah, I went back and watched the recap, but a lot of good racing, some pretty big wrecks. And, I mean, it's Charlotte, so I think everybody was kind of struggling with grip.
Right. So in the points after 8 rounds, Ray Alfala leads them. PJ Sturgio's second, Kenny Humpy third.
Yeah, the points seem to be starting to spread quite a bit now.
Yep. Alan Bowes, who was really hot early in the season, he's down to 7th. So.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much going to be Ray and PJ. They're kind of breaking away.
Yeah, they do have a little bit of a point breakaway from Humpy there.
And they basically got about a month off. They don't run again until the end of June.
Yeah, I was looking at that, trying to figure out when the next race was and stuff like that. And same thing with the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. They haven't run in a while, so I don't think we have a race to report on about them. All right, but guess what? Blank Pane GT Series, they had their round 2 at Silverstone, and there was a nice little highlight video, but Coanda SimSport emerged as the race-winning team with a daring race strategy. That's sort of they call it. So there was an issue, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in more detail, but there was an issue with a DDoS attack during this race. And many of the teams were affected, is what I understood. So what they're going to do is they're going to add an extra round to the series as well as add one drop week to try to compensate. So, we haven't seen iRacing really make changes like that in the past when there's been a connection problem or a server problem. This is kind of a new territory for them.
Well, I can't remember them ever adding anything. I mean, you guys remember they squashed Daytona 500 for 2015, and all of us that ran it got no credit for it.
Right. Yeah, so they did that, but in this case, they're adding an event and giving a drop week because of it.
Well, there's a lot of money and prizes and stuff on the line in that series.
I guess that's a fair thing to do. We'll see. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Round 3 will be coming up. So we had the off week for the NIS off week, when Charlotte has the showdown, so to speak, and the sprint all-star race. We usually have an off week in NIS. So what did we do on the off week? We ran the Indy 500. So my first question for you guys is, what do you think about running the Indy 500 the week before the actual Indy 500? It kind of threw me off because, as we were in race week for the real race, that's when I actually wanted to be in the car, but we were already done at that point.
To me, I mean, being a week early, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it really affected me either way.
Okay. And it did spread out, the 600 and the 500. So you weren't trying to run those on the same week. So that was one good thing, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear people in the forum saying they wanted to run them back to back.
Do the double, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, Brad, you did your own sort of double yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, still pretty tired from that. So attempted for two 600s yesterday, and first one was great. Second one didn't end so well, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, at some point.
Okay, so let's just go through our Indy 500. Friday was the first event there, and man, we took a big hit as a team. I actually went after the race and counted up. We had 6 different starters on our team that day, and we lost 343 iRating points between the 6 of them. And then most of those team members were done before lap 10. I ended up being the only driver to actually finish the race. I got a 13th place finish and gained only 12 iRating after 500 miles. There was 4 green flags in a row. And yeah, it was a tough race for most of us.
Mine was because we're morons.
No, I was out of town, but I was kind of keeping track with you guys on Messenger, and it doesn't seem like anybody had any good luck. And was it all setup issues, or?
Nope. Oh, some people.
Well, people getting wrecked, and I think in some cases there were setup issues.
Mine was just some guy who doesn't know how to hold the brake pedal and slid right in front of me to try to ruin my race. I mean, the car was hard to drive, but still good.
And mine was just losing the front.
Yeah, and I think that might have been, you were running a setup you weren't ready to run, or it wasn't quite right?
Yeah, I was jumping back and forth between different setups, and I couldn't feel comfortable in the car. After a couple laps, I started feeling comfortable, and it's just wanting to turn one, and if you don't hit the line just right, hey, there's the wall. It's just, I don't like the car that much.
Yeah, there's no mistakes at this track, so...
really, it's in any car.
That's true. I ended up running a fixed set just because it was stable and I was hearing too many people wrecking and stuff. It was slow, but I was happy that I went with that fixed set because I, kept the car under me, obviously.
Hell, my set was really good for the first race, I think, the Friday night one, and that's where, that's not really what got me in trouble, just me again, losing concentration at probably the toughest track and car combination out there. But I said my set was fast, good, but just mistakes here and there will get you.
Oh, yeah. I ended up starting on Saturday as well, and I wrecked out early. I was the first caution. I wrecked by myself, I think off of 2. P33, I mean, it hurt. It was 118 iRating.
Oh, wow.
And boy, I was just kicking myself for starting that race. So, yeah, that was the Indy 500.
Yeah, my best finish of that was 13th, and I tried 3 different times.
Yeah, it wasn't a lack of effort on our team. A lot of people tried, and I don't think very many people had good runs, so. All right, let's move on. NIS. Well, off week, we ran the Indy 500, and now this week this last week has been Charlotte. So the 600, and right off the bat, I'm going to say it again, and I've said it before, these races are too long. And I don't mind the occasional race, but it just feels like we're doing too many of these things. And people have to work, and people have families and lives, and it's just too much.
Yeah, 10 of them. 10's too many.
Yeah, let's do 3 or 4, maybe, It just seems like they're stacked right now, too, in the last month or two.
Yeah, I mean we don't do another full one until Daytona, but I mean it's difficult when you're running open and fixed, so that puts you at running 2 full distance races, over the course of a week.
Yeah, and if you have a bad run, you probably run another one, like we usually do.
Oh yeah, well that's what I mean. In work issues is what forced me to have to try to do 2 of them on Sunday.
So Wednesday, I took some notes here. I ran with Jose on Wednesday, and he got a 6th place finish. Congratulations, Jose. If you follow his results, you'll know that that's like a win for him, especially in this long race. I had a 19th place on Wednesday with not 1, but 2 blown engines for that same race, and still finished 19th.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. I had only, I don't know, I blew an engine late in the race, and I still finished worse than you did, and it was only once.
Yep. And then Thursday, I ran and got a 13th. It was hard fought for sure, and I was really driving my tail off. I even had people telling me I was driving really hard. You know what? In these splits I'm running in, which I think I'm in a split that might be a little bit higher than I should be for my abilities. I really have to, be up on the wheel just to keep up with these guys, and then I can't even do it then.
Oh, yeah,
On these
no
long
taking it
runs,
easy.
I'm getting killed.
Yeah, and especially with the fixed set, the cars, you never get separated from anybody. It's not like open. I'm really starting to prefer the open races.
Yeah. And Friday night, ran again and got a 6th place finish. That was after long green flag runs. The caution came out a few laps after a green flag stop. It trapped me 2 laps down in 13th. This is kind of a neat story. This is right at the end of the race. Took a wave around to 1 lap down, fought hard for the lucky dog and got it with a very late caution. There was a 1 lap shootout for the checker, and I ended up going from 11th to 6th on that final lap. It's a classic finish for me when I get a top 10, is that usually kind of how it plays out.
Wow.
So I was like ecstatic after that one. It was definitely felt like a win.
Yeah, I started Friday night open. I can only run now. I was only be able to run 1 time a week now with the new job. Lost it in turn 1, saved it. A couple laps later, a big group of guys got in a wreck in turn 1. I had the car slow down, and the person behind me never looked at the replay. They just drove into everybody head on, wide open. And the car was so messed up. I stopped. I was done, and I finished 28.
Yeah, it seems like it's hard to miss wrecks at Charlotte. It's like if they're wrecking in front of you, that's really hard to miss it.
Well, if people knew how to use a brake pedal, it wouldn't be that big of a problem.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, plus, we're hauling the mail going into turn 1, and next thing you know, you just see 10 cars sideways block the whole track. You're trying to stop, and you can't.
Oh yeah, going straight into 1, there's really nothing you can do when something happens.
So another thing I heard on the forums was on Wednesday night, 2 of the lower splits went as long as 6 hours long. I think all of my races were right over 4 hours.
Yeah, the open for me was a little under 4. The fixed ended up going about 4.
You're looking at the times, people starting 9 o'clock at night and then do 6 hours, and they gotta get up and work the next morning. It's just too long.
Yeah, I mean that's why. I mean I didn't run Wednesday. I ran the open Friday night. Ended up getting wrecked out pretty early, so that ended that. Was at work all day Saturday, which stuck me trying to do the double on Sunday. And open race had a great run. Ended up being top split for both races on Sunday, which was nice. But ended up with a 4th place finish in the open.
Wow.
Yeah, good race. I mean, just good race. And I told Carlos that the car just went completely opposite from Friday. just kept getting freer and freer, which worked out good because I was good on the long run. Fixed race, top split's going to be top split. I have never been in a race with people just driving. I don't even know what to call it. I mean, we had guys that were pitting with no announcement, and you're trying to avoid them, and then you got guys that are announcing they're pitting, getting run over. I announced through text 2 or 3 times, all the way down the back stretch, over voice chat, I'm pitting, and get plowed into coming into the pits. Race done right then and there.
Welcome to every part of my weeks in Talladega. That's how the races are every single week in those splits.
It's frustrating, man. I mean, and not a sorry, not a nothing. I mean, and it's just, you say, I mean, it's just, I was so mad last night, and, then sat for 40 minutes to get everything fixed and drove for 2 more hours, just to get a 22nd place finish.
Yeah, that's tough to do, especially on these long races. Yeah, it certainly speaks, you're talking about top split and some of the personalities in there. Boy, it just shows you, the racing is just dirty sometimes.
Well, I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. I mean, you would think the higher you get in the splits, the racing I would think would get better. I mean, I remember coming up, and it seemed like, once you started to get into that maybe 4th or 5th split, things started getting better from the very bottom. But it's like, I guess once you get to 2nd and 1st, man, I mean, sometimes it's great, and other times I'd almost rather get back in a bottom split.
That's what I was telling Jose. I'd probably have more fun in those lower splits because I'd run better. But yeah, all right. Let's look at results for some of the team members here. Carlos, you had a 3rd in the open, 18th in the fixed. Not bad, 3rd.
Yeah, that was a top split race.
Wow, top split even.
As you could hear from Brad's comments, it was exactly the same way. I just managed to not get wrecked.
Survive, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I got a 6th and a 13th. And Brad Miller, he got a 3rd as well, and a 23rd fixed.
Yeah, we did open. It was definitely better than fixed for everybody this week.
Oh yeah, you can see in the results for sure. Brad, you got a 4th and a 22nd. Brian Cozier, big old goose egg, because guess what? He's out doing real racing, and we haven't seen him, but he's been doing some dirt tracking. So congratulations, Brian, on doing that. Jose got a 6th and a 10th in finish. Good job, Jose. Good week for him. Jonas Hankins got a 12th. He didn't run fixed. Matt Boley ran 24th in open and 2nd in fixed. He had the best result.
Yeah, but that open finish, when we get to the issue a little bit further with some hardware, that's what got him.
Yep. Dave Smith got a 9th and a 15th. Kyle Fleischman, 18th and a 4th in the fix. And Jeff Walton, you got 28th in the open and no start in the fix. Ouch. And that's NIS. So what's next week? Pocono. What do you guys, Brad, you were telling me expect to be loose.
Oh, God.
Oh, the fix set is horrible.
You know what the sad thing is? I ran quicker. I did a test earlier, just, practice a hosted session with a fix. I was doing better than I was with an open set.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, you have to be, but it's hard. That's all I can say is I would rather drive a slow open set than the fix set.
Yeah, that's, I was turning a few laps before tonight, and I'm scared for tonight in the league race we've got. I'm really scared.
Well, should be interesting.
Be freaking long caution laps.
That's the one thing I hate about Pocono, and we always seem to have tons of them.
Oh, yeah. It's like 6 minutes or something.
Oh, it's agonizing. This week will feel like last week, and it won't be a full distance race.
Right. Well, you get your repairs done. All right. Next up, let's keep cruising here. Otto Shabini from iRacing. He's an employee there. He is the marketing guy. and Inside Sim Racing taped him at the iRace for Life conference, and they put this up on YouTube, and I watched it. It was like a Q&A. And I wrote down a couple of notes from what I heard, so let me just read those off. New stuff. I didn't write down everything. You know, we've been hearing from a lot about what's going on with iRacing and stuff, so I only wrote down stuff that kind of caught my eye. One of them was they're starting over with sounds. There's going to be a new sound engine. They got a new sound guy. And when I say new sound engine, I mean the software part of it, the driver part of it that actually produces the sound, not the engine of the car. I mean the part that generates the actual sounds and in the software, so to speak. So anyway, this sounded interesting that, you know, they are working on sounds. That is a project that's ongoing. They are redoing the damage model. And one thing that he elaborated on as far as that goes is with net code and damage and that kind of thing, they're using triangles around the cars versus circles. So if you imagine your car is on the track, there's a circle around it, and if somebody breaks into that circle, then that is considered a crash or damage or a net code. And now they're saying they're using triangles around the cars, and it's making it more accurate. So you actually can get right against the car before there's contact, and it's not a 6-inch gap or whatever. That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, I watched it too, and that makes pretty much the sense I think he was going for. Back to the sound thing, and my understanding, Greg Hill, who's the sound guy, is the guy that's been doing the sounds, but they finally hired him full time.
I see. Yeah, so yeah, he's recording actual samples, but not only are they doing that, they have a new sound engine to actually, you know, produce those samples into actual sounds.
Yeah, but I think before, you know, he was basically almost like a contractor, was just doing work for them. And I remember reading that, you know, he's basically been hired full time, and this is, you know, he's strictly focusing on iRacing now, as opposed to working for multiple sims and stuff like that.
Right, they got enough work for him, so good. The other item, dirt. You know, they talked a lot about dirt, but one thing he mentioned was it opens up a lot of opportunities for other types of racing that maybe you haven't thought about, like rally, like dirt cross. What's that one where you have to take the alternate route, Carlos, on the dirt track with the little cars?
Rallycross?
Yeah, rallycross. Yeah. So, I mean, all those kind of things. So I think that's the first time we've actually heard somebody from iRacing saying, you know, those particular things, rally, dirt cross, rallycross, that those are going to be possibilities, and those are on the radar. So the other thing, Dave Kramer, the founder of iRacing, was mentioned. He's still working on tire models. He's heavy duty on it, and he actually made some real big gains just the other day on his new tire model. So, and then time attack. We've heard that before, that word. It's right around the corner. He said it actually 3 different times in the video, that time attack is coming. So I would expect that in the next build. That's some kind of thing where you do a hot lap and your time is against everybody else, and you're trying to do the fastest hot lap, I guess.
I guess that, or, you know, I guess also working with point to point.
Or is it a thing where you're running out of time, and if you get to the point, then you get more time, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Something like that.
Yeah, he talked about, you know, how the work they've done on the Nordschleife, you know, has really opened up the time attack stuff.
Because of the point-to-point thing, right?
I think so.
And Carlos, we were talking about that the other day, that at Nordschleife, you don't have to start over at pit road every time you, like, wreck, right? You can push the button, it'll reset you somewhere else.
Yeah, pretty much, but I don't know how that's going to work for, like, you know, official sessions. I think practice. That's what you could do, just reset the car.
I think what this guy was saying, though, is that functionality was the beginnings of what they need for time attack, or for these other things, like rally, you know, where it is a point-to-point race. So that was that's all part of the grand scheme of things, that they can build these other things because of that. All right, so Otto, had some good things to say at the iRace for Life conference. Let's move on. Dirt. Williams Grove Speedway was announced as a new dirt track. And iRacing's been posting, pictures and videos of them out there scanning the track, and they scanned it before the race. They scanned it after a race. One guy was there all night long after a big event to get the aftermath scanned. So it sounds like they're really going for it.
Was he tasting the dirt?
I don't know if he was tasting it, but it's kind of neat that iRacing shares that stuff with us, and so we can at least have an idea what they're working on. So.
Dirt can't get here fast enough.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, iRacing soon, right?
Yeah, and he even mentioned that in the Q&A, about that the goal was the end of the year, but that was a very aggressive goal.
I think he was purposely downplaying that goal because it is a very aggressive goal, I think. Okay, so next up is, and we're just going randomly through our topics here. Fireworks. I forgot about them until we raced at Charlotte at night, but when the race is over at a night race, there's fireworks. Have you guys seen it?
No, because at the night tracks, I can't set my popcorn effects to anything higher than low because I get so many horrific stutters and frame rate loss if I run it on medium.
Oh. Ouch.
Doesn't do it in the day. You can run it like that during the day. I actually put up a post on the forum, gotten no response, but to run a track during the day, you can run it at medium perfectly fine, no issues at all. At night, as soon as you get in the grass, system comes to a screeching halt.
You think it'd be the other way around because of shadows, but
I know. It just doesn't make any sense. Not the smoke issue, it's strictly grass. So it's when the particles are coming up off the tires. During the day, it's fine. At night, it's undrivable.
So I'll ask a stupid question. What does the grass have to do with fireworks?
Well, I'm just saying, you can only see it when it's medium. If you have your medium or above, it's when you've got the popcorn effect settle on. So if you got it set at low, you won't get the fireworks.
Right. Well, I guess I have them on high because I was able to see the fireworks. Jeff, Carlos, have you seen it?
Yep. Actually scared me first time because I didn't know what the noise was, but I seen it out the corner coming to the line, or outside my windshield, actually coming out of 4 at Charlotte. When I first noticed that.
It's kind of hard to find a camera angle where you can see it. If you just stay in the car, you might not even see it.
Yeah, I just saw it while driving, then I checked afterwards, and I saw it on the replay.
Yeah, so go to the blimp on the replay of the final lap or right after the final lap, and you'll see it.
Yeah, I don't have a machine that is good enough to run it on high.
So you haven't seen it? Okay. All right, well, I forgot about it. It's been there for a long time, and I just thought I'd mention it again since we had a night race. All right, let's move on. Next was the 2016 Season 3 schedule has been released on the 27th, about 3 days ago. And then I'll read off some items of note that they noted. Rough Cup is now open setup. There's a new Rough GT3 series that is fixed. The Ford GT will move into the GT3 class and replace the Rough.
All right.
The prototype. Oh, yeah. Is that good news for you?
Yep.
The prototype and GT Challenge is back with the HPD, Ford GT, and GT1 cars. The IMSA series is now the Vet DP, German GT3 cars, and the Rough C-Spec.
The hell's German GT3? I'm guessing the Rough and the Mercedes Audi?
No, it's a BMW, Mercedes, and Audi.
Okay. And then the Radical is back as a standalone series. And then finally, the Verizon IndyCar series is an open setup road series with both oval and road races.
The Radical is probably one of my favorite road cars, but being on this side of the pond, it's almost impossible to find any races that go official.
Well, probably now that it's a standalone series, it's probably even worse, right?
Yeah. It's always been a struggle here in the U.S., but it's a great car. I mean, if you just want to have a fun car to go play with.
Yeah. So, yeah, Season 3 schedule's out. If you're interested, check it out. Let's get into hardware next.
Did you want to touch on the DDoS attack?
Oh, that's right. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It was during the Blank Pane GT Round 2 series. It's when it happened. But, Brad, you did some reading on this, didn't you? What did you find out?
I think it's interesting. Tony Gardner had even posted on the forums, and quoting Tony, he says, speaking on this, he says, we did invest over 6 figures in added security, and it helped keep the site up, but it did impact one server. He apologized for it. There's just some evil people in the world, and these types of attacks are federal crime. So, I mean, I don't know what causes people to want to do this, and I don't think it's people specifically, targeting iRacing. It's just you get caught up in this stuff.
Well, is this the world of everyone shares servers now? And they rent space on servers, and somebody else is getting DDoS that's not really iRacing, but we're getting affected?
Yeah, I mean, there's, you have it's an attack on a domain server, is my understanding to some degree. So, there's multiple domain servers throughout the internet, and everybody points back to those for your routing, your directing, through the internet. And, when these things get attacked, it slows those down, and you can't. A domain server is basically, it's almost like the post office. You're going for a website, you go to the domain server that tells you where to go somewhere, and when those things are attacked, you can't go anywhere.
Yep.
I think I got that right. It's been a few years
since
I read
up
on it.
Right. Is iRacing learning from this so they can fix it in the future? I don't know. I mean, we've heard about this a lot over the last couple of years. It's happened off and on. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other games that are have way more users online than we do, but I don't know if it's just it's again iRacing small company, and maybe that's part of it too. I really don't know, but I mean, if they've invested 6 figures, that's a lot of money.
Yep. It is a lot of money for security. So that's what happened there. So. And I like the reaction they had too with adding a drop week and scheduling another event just to not mess up that series, because it did happen during that particular event. It looks like it's an attack on iRacing because it happened during that time, but it's hard to say, until people are actually prosecuted. All right, so let's jump into hardware now. I have a comment. I spent some time in the last couple of weeks cleaning my computer, and there's a couple ways I clean it. I usually just kind of open the door and blow it out. Well, this time I did more than that. I took it apart, took it out into the kitchen, took out the video card, and boy, was that dirty underneath the video card and the big heat sink that sits over the CPU. I thought I had been blowing that out really good, but once I got the video card out and I was able to look underneath of it, it was completely clogged with dirt. I mean, it was really bad. And so I was happy that I took the time to actually take that apart and blow that out. And when I used the canned air on the video card, I had never taken the video card out of the computer like that since I built it, and it's been almost 4 years. I couldn't believe how much dust blew out of that thing, and it was just amazing how dirty it was. My computer was actually making noises and stuff before this. Once I got it cleaned up and put it back together, those noises are gone. Like when the fans would go into high, it would make some kind of weird noise. Now that noise isn't happening, so... Hey, this is my reminder to you guys out there, the listeners. Don't forget to do this once in a while. I think I probably waited too long to do it.
I still got it.
I do mine generally about once a year. I'll pull it and break it down, and I haven't gone and pulled every component out in probably 2 years, but at least once a year I'll pull it out and blow it out. Just do a really good job of cleaning it out. And same thing. I mean, mine sits over here in the corner now, and you can't even tell it's running.
Hell, mine's in a freaking closed space. I need to get it out of there because, well, actually, everything inside the computer is nice and cool like you would expect it to be, but my graphic card, my GPU is heating to the point where it wants to start lowering its performance.
Yeah, and if if you're someone who's got animals in the house, you probably need to do it more frequently than once a year.
Yeah. I didn't take everything out. I just took out the video card, but by doing that, it gave me access to the bottom part of the radiator over the CPU, and I felt like everything else I could really reach with the dust can. So I felt like I didn't need to take everything out. I certainly was thinking about taking the radiator off the CPU, but I'm like, no, I don't want to mess with the paste and all that stuff again. I know I got a good seal on that, so I decided not to do that. Okay, let's move on. Inside Sim Racing, as well as some other sites I saw on Facebook and Twitter, are announcing that there's some breaking news regarding the new Thrustmaster wheel, and there's some pictures that have been released of it too. But apparently it's going to be direct drive, this wheel. And that'll be huge news because I don't think Thrustmaster has really gone down that road before.
That'll be interesting. Be interesting to see what the build quality is on it.
Yeah, and looking at the picture, the base is pretty darn big. And I was kind of wondering, boy, would that fit on my Abuto? I might have to do something different. I don't even think that would fit on my particular cockpit.
I think it probably would. I don't think that'd be an issue. But their bases always seem rather large anyway. Just the shape to me has always been real high profile.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been watching and kind of shopping wheels and stuff, and this is intriguing. I have no idea what the price point is, so we'll have to see when it comes out. All right. Next up was Logitech software updater has been updating the Logitech Profiler, I think it's called, and messing up a lot of people with G27 wheels. And there's a lot of reports on the forums and a lot of different game sites across the board where basically this update installs and then their wheel becomes a brick. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, this is what got teammate Matt Bowley yesterday, and was fine on Saturday and fired up the computer to run the open race, and wheel wouldn't do anything, and finally gets back into the profiler, and it's got, instead of a G27 or G25, it says it's got a Driving Force Pro, and nothing would work.
Yeah, so there is a documented fix for this if you look it up. I don't remember exactly what it is. It has to do with uninstall and reinstall something.
I think that's what Matt ended up doing, and by the time he got all that figured out, he was pretty much out of the race.
Right.
Did you have that issue? Because I think you've got a G27, don't you?
I do, but I only have the wheel and the gear shift. I'm not using pedals that are G27. So I don't know if that's the difference or not, but no, I haven't seen this issue. Maybe I have updates turned off. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about you when he was having issues. Interesting.
Yeah, so I haven't had any problems. I'm not sure what the difference is. Why are some people having problems and other people aren't that are running the same equipment? It doesn't seem to affect everybody. So I haven't figured out what the difference is. Just going to look at my profiler right now, actually, and see if I can tell what version it is. Yeah, it says version 5.10.127, date June 14th, 2010.
That may be why.
So I definitely have an older version of it. So hopefully it won't update. So, yeah, if you run into this issue, people, just Google it or check the forums. I know that I've seen documented fixes for this where you can follow the instructions and get it resolved. So, okay, moving on. Let's talk Microsoft Windows. Windows 7. Microsoft has released basically what amounts to Service Pack 2 for Windows 7. They're not calling it that. They're calling it the new convenience rollup. So what happens is if you reinstall Windows 7 on a unit with an old disk, you better be ready to spend the next 48 hours installing over 400 updates from Microsoft. Well, what this does is it rolls all those 400 or so updates up into one convenient package that you can install all at once. And so I don't know how many iRacers out there are reinstalling Windows with Windows 7 and stuff, but I thought I would mention it. If you're used to doing those kind of updates, you might want to check this out. Okay. Moving on. The new video card we talked about, the 1080 and the 1070 from NVIDIA. I understand that there's a lot of availability questions, where to buy it and that kind of thing. Carlos, you were talking about getting one. What happened?
I'm getting a 1070, but I don't know. I just found out they just got released today, really, to everyone, but pre-orders was what ran out. A lot of people couldn't get a hold of them. 1080s at least. I don't know what the story was for the 1070, but yeah.
Yeah, there were some people on the forums who tried to pre-order. A few got in, a few didn't, is what it sounded like. So, yeah, my recommendation is just wait a little bit, until the product gets out to the various distributors, and shouldn't be a problem getting these.
That's what I'm waiting for the 1070, for other, companies to release theirs instead of having the reference model, which, to be honest, I think the cooling on them suck.
Yeah, a lot of people mention that if you wait for the other companies to put their stuff on the card, you'll get a better cooling or a better, value, because they're going to make it better than the card is that you can buy today. If you do a Google search for GTX 1080, just about every article states pre-orders sold out in 5 minutes. So very popular wheel or card, so we'll have to see. Now, speaking of wheels, that's the next topic.
Frex.
Frex, is that how you say that? FREX has announced the DD Sim Wheel, as they call it. It's $1,650, and it doesn't include the actual steering wheel. It's the motor, and it looks like a electronic controller, and maybe a button, and a bunch of cabling. So, did you guys look at this? What do you think?
Yeah, I looked at it. I mean, it looks nice. I mean, that's kind of on my wish list here in the next couple of years, so we'll see.
Well, this is definitely along that whole OWB kind of thing, where you build your own wheel, but this is like got everything, everything you need kind of pre-packaged. You just have to add the wheel to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different do-it-yourselves, but I'm not that do-it-yourself.
Right. So I agree. If I was ever to get one of these, I would want a package like this that's all put together. The other thing I was reading as I was reading about these wheels and these direct-drive wheels and stuff, I kind of picked this up in the forum just by reading over several pages and stuff, but I got the impression that there's a problem with most quick disconnect wheels in these OSW projects. They end up stripping and developing play within hours, in some cases making it completely useless for some people. But it's news to me, but it reminds me when you're buying this kind of stuff, in this particular market, you better be doing your homework, you know.
Yeah, well, I think part of the issue is people actually trying to use, real quick disconnects, and in reality, I think some of these direct drive wheels are actually, more powerful than an actual steering wheel in a car.
They're more powerful than they need to be, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how many, what is it, nanometers, or what do we need? 25? I mean, how strong does it need to be?
I don't know, but what was I gonna say? The only things that are really that strong would be a go-kart, a racing car.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's about it.
The IndyCar, I don't think IndyCar uses power steering, so that's probably as close as you're going to get. But I mean, I don't know. But I mean, I read the same thing, Mike, with guys, short, even just short use, and they're stripped out.
Right, and boy, you want to spend all that kind of money and build you a nice wheel, and then all of a sudden, there's a problem. So yeah, there was definitely certain models or certain brands where there was a stripping problem. So it is, I'm not going to say anything specific because I didn't really do a lot of research on it, but it certainly threw up a red flag for me. All right.
And again, back to what we said earlier, I'm not that much of a do-it-yourself guy, so I want the whole package and have it all work.
Right. All right, and that concludes our hardware section. We did get a shout out last week. I don't read Spanish. Carlos, do you read that? Can you read that?
Nope.
Okay.
Where's Jose when we need him?
Where's Jose? Yeah, I don't know, but apparently we got some fans of the iRacers Lounge down in South America, and we must have mentioned something they did because they were twittering us on Twitter, and we got several retweets from several other Spanish iRacers or Brazilian iRacers, I'm not sure. And I just want to say thank you to those guys. Thanks for listening. Hey, next time, interact in English if you can, and we'll try to, talk back to you. But that was kind of the problem. I didn't know what you guys were saying.
I just looked at the tweet, and there's a spot underneath that says you can translate it. It says, this American podcast at iRacing, like us, name Yoni in the VLN, big thanks. So I guess with us talking about the VLN.
Oh, the new VLN series, yes.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, so, don't be afraid to interact with us, guys. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook at iRacers Lounge, we're on YouTube, Twitch, you name it. So get out there and interact with us and tell us what you want us to talk about. One idea we had as a team is let's ask the audience for topic suggestions. If you have something that you want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll put it in the script and go over it. So we want our listeners to, weigh in. So let us know. And that's going to wrap it up, guys. We're going to try to switch this to a weekly format going forward. So stay tuned for that. We've been on every 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll see how the weekly thing works out. But let's get into final thoughts. Carlos, you're up.
Crap. Oh, I don't know. Just kind of looking forward to Pocono because I always do there, but I'm kind of not looking forward to Pocono because everyone else kind of struggles sometimes and I end up getting caught in their stuff. So that's just all I'm worried about.
All right. I'm just happy to get back to a regular distance race. Brad, what do you got for final thoughts?
Kind of same thing with Carlos. Not really looking forward to Pocono, but this next stretch of 4 or 5 races is really not looking forward to it. This is going to be the summer grind, which is at a bunch of tracks I'm not very good at. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a lot of time in practices, over the next few weeks. But we'll see. Let's everybody has a good week of Pocono and try to hang on to that thing.
Yeah, and we're all inching up in the points. So this is really a good part of the year where you can really gain points or lose points. We get a lot of people that, don't make it the whole season, I think. And this is kind of that point of the season. Like you said, it's a grind. I think we might lose some of the people that have been running all year. So we'll see if we move up. Jeff, what do you got for final thoughts?
Now someone will be able to run once a week. Just really take my time and watch that mirror and let people run. And then with 50 laps to go, I guess decide to try to move up and finish where I finish.
Yep, it's going to be harder for you with that one start, that's for sure. So, all right. And my final thoughts is, hey, interact with us. Hit us up on Twitter and Facebook, guys, and let us know what you want to hear. As we go into a weekly format, these shows will get a little bit shorter, I'm sure, but we'll be looking for topics, so let us know. All right, and that's our show. Thanks. See ya.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Thank you for listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Make sure to go subscribe to us at our YouTube channel at iRacers Lounge. Follow on Twitter and Facebook at iRacers Lounge and SoundCloud at iRacers Lounge. See you on the track.